So guess what? You chose your parents. And today we're going to talk about how. On an oversoul soul level, beyond your mind, there's a quantum resonance and a very specific way that oversoul agrees to come to Earth. A mother is not chosen by emotion. It happens through energetic alignment, frequency. Energy pattern must match. So in very simple terms is when the new you begins to connect, it checks if it's a fit. And if one of those three matches isn't strong, it has a choice to let go and leave. And I think like what I want to close with today is who are the children that are entering Earth now? These kids are different. What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to another episode of the TSP Podcast. So guess what? You chose your parents. And today we're going to talk about how. So how exactly does an oversoul or soul choose to enter into Earth? What is that exact process? How does an incoming, we'll call it identity, soul, oversoul, spirit, choose to come to Earth? How does it choose its mother? Have you ever wondered, how does it enter? What happens in early pregnancy in terms of frequency? Because if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, you got to think in terms of frequency. Not just emotion, but frequency. And then we're going to dive a little bit into, after we understand this process, who are the Indigo children? The volunteers who volunteered to come to Earth. So once we understand how they came, then we're going to dive into kind of who these volunteers are and how they come in waves. And I think like what I want to close with today is who are the children that are entering Earth now? These kids are different. And why is this important to put awareness on today? So we're going to talk and dive into those questions today, and we're going to answer them from an eternal life perspective, from a Kalantic science perspective. So not too long ago, my wife had a vision. She's very intuitive and she's very grounded, but every once in a while, she's shown very clear visions. And she was shown that her and I come from the exact same avatar. And some of you might be wondering, what does that even mean, right? And so, as I always say, if you can there's a reason why I wear this shirt every week, because if you understand these 12 circles, you understand the secrets of the universe. And so the avatar is 12, 11, 10 dimension, 12, 11, 10 circle. And so what she was shown was at this level, which is liquid light, we are existing as the same stream of consciousness. So that stream then becomes an oversoul, 987 dimension, right? And then that becomes a soul, 654 dimension, right? And every time an avatar splits itself in the stream through quantum, through fission, it becomes 12 oversouls. And then one oversoul becomes electromagnetic fission, 12 souls. So 12 times 12 is 144, and one soul splits itself. So, right? And so these are the secrets of the universe. And so my wife was shown that we are existing as the same stream on the avatar quantum resonance liquid light version. And so it's kind of a special story to me on how I met my wife. So, I'm a firm believer that every step you take in life, it's not an accident. There's a specific reason why you experience everything you've experienced in the past, and it's all interconnected. Everything you've experienced in the past is preparing you for what's to come. And there's these frequency milestones and events that you experience and relationships. And some relationships come and they're literally there as karmic to learn a lesson, a blessing, and an opportunity to evolve. And that's what the invisible world cares about, is the evolution. And let that land. The invisible world on an oversoul soul level is not necessarily concerned about your comfort. In fact, it's on the edges we grow. What it is encouraging and giving us the opportunity to do, which is in all consciousness, is to fulfill the original intention of Source, which is to evolve and experience. And so all of our past relationships have been a mirror to prepare us to learn, to be blessed. And then there comes a time, if the frequency is no longer in quantum resonance, where you can evolve into a different timeline, sometimes into a different relationship. So I've had my share of relationships, and I learned from every single one of them. And I finally had come to a place in my life where I wasn't seeking anything outside of myself. I was just every day morning waking up and praying for the liberation of all sentient beings. Show me what I need to see, tell me what I need to do. And every day sometimes I'd hear 2 things, 3 things, and I would just do those things. And I had gotten into this rhythm of that life. And that's when the magic happens, because you are at one with all, unattached to anything. The belief in lack is the root cause of all suffering. So as soon as someone is seeking a relationship, it already implies lack. I'm seeking something outside of myself to fulfill something that is I don't have. I'm seeking love. I want, right? And that's different than desiring, because you can be complete and whole in yourself and still desire. And that's conscious, co-creation. But, I was at that place. And so long story short, my wife was on the other side of the world in Germany. At the time, she was learning from a spiritual philosophy of that the physical doesn't matter. And so I'll let her explain it one day, but it was like the material doesn't matter. And so she was like, what? The material doesn't matter. All that matters is like being in this, enlightened stage, right? So it's like, should I become a nun or what? And I think she prayed a prayer like, if there's something that's true out there, show me. And the next day, a video of mine popped up. And she says there was like a resonance. She didn't know what it was, a quantum resonance. And then all of a sudden, our stepson was like, "Hey, Mom, I want to go to Florida." And I love Jesus. And what are you talking about? You don't even know who Jesus is? What? And then all of a sudden, she found out that I'm in Florida. And long story short, she experienced some of the work that I did. And it was a really, really powerful, beautiful experience. And then pretty soon after that, I don't know how to explain it, but every time you open the portal and you pray, if you want to call it prayer, Christians call it prayer, where this energy and quantum resonance to the invisible world is open, like the soul of our spirit, of our unborn daughter, started contacting me and saying that she wanted to be born. And I was like, no way. I had this happen before. And I was like, nope. And then when there's an agreement on the oversoul soul level, it's beyond your mind. So I know a lot of people say, I didn't choose to come. But what I'm saying is maybe on a D3 mental level, you didn't choose to come. Right. But on an oversoul soul level, beyond your mind, there's a quantum resonance and a very specific way that oversoul agrees to come to Earth. Pun intended. And so, and then, I'm like, no, my mind is like, no, because, I had previous experience where, like my whole life was like, I just listen. When I'm told something, I just listen. I know it's not my mind, I just listen, right? And I pray for the liberation of all sentient beings. But like, I was like, no. And then the universe creates these ways. They'll start doing things. It's like, oh, so then Daniel's like, okay, then you have to do this training. I have to do this training, this facilitator training. I'm like, okay. And like 4 or 5 times whenever I pray, it's like, you got to do this. So I was like, okay, cool. And that was the way, right? And long story short, I showed up to do this training, this facilitator training, and every time I would try to get downloads to do the training, I was being told, no, you better like pay attention to this. This is it. We're like, I've chosen, and I'm like, no, and it's like, no, I've chosen. So at this point in my life, if there's something that's happening that I'm like not aware of the other party, like, right, communication is the key. There is no problem. 99% of the time, it's a lack of transparent communication. And so during the training, I go to my wife and I'm like, I need to talk to you. And this is when she wasn't my wife. Like I knew her, like she was like an acquaintance. And I'm like, I need to talk to you in private, because that's all I knew how to do was like, okay, communicate, right? And so, I go to her and I'm like, hey, have you been getting messages? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, what? No. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, the soul of our unborn daughter is contacting me and telling me that she wants to be born from you and me. And she's like, oh, yeah. 4 months ago, I got the message. Yeah, I know, yeah. And I'm like, what? Right. And so, yeah, for a year, the next year, every Sunday for 2 hours, we would, like church, we would do what we call transparent communication, where we would create a space, a sacred, safe space where she would communicate, I would communicate, for like an hour each, everything we didn't want each other to know about ourselves. I'm talking about the shadow stuff, the stuff we never tell anybody. And we would purposely bring those things into sacred space, non-judgmental space, into awareness, until eventually there was nothing that she didn't know about me, nothing I didn't know about her. And it was like church. And eventually through this, we were able to begin to really know each other on a soul level, and decide consciously to prepare to consciously invite in. And it's been a process, the oversoul of our unborn daughter who chose us. Real quick, doctors, healers, health professionals, you do not need another certification. What you need is a signature program and the right system to help you scale it. In a free webinar, I share with you the free AI tool that helps you build your 8-week signature course and the exact playbook that I use to impact millions of souls and build a 7-figure business. So if this resonates, in the show notes below, you can watch the free webinar. I'll see you inside the free webinar where we will literally build your signature course together. Check it out. This is a story, but I want to actually go into the exact processes of how this happens. So you went through it because you're on earth, if you're listening to this. And as I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because you are not just a body. You come from a soul, oversoul, avatar, inner Christos divine template. And it's part of a larger identity system. So I know you may have heard the saying, you are a drop in the ocean, but you are also the ocean. So you're a drop of source, but you are also source. And the individual contains the code for the entire ocean, base 12, eternal life code. And so when a spirit, ether or Jalizic radiation on the unmanifest side of creation, decides to densify itself and come into, let's just say, Earth, source particle splits, I've talked about this before, and then it comes into Earth, at least in through what is called the primal sound. and primal light. In the beginning, God said sound becomes light. So that's the upper seven heavens, which is, if you want to call it, where ascended masters live, right? And that's New Age terminology. It's just like a big ocean of consciousness, and that ocean of consciousness can create new universes and galaxies, right? And so one of those collectives decided to create an experiment here on Earth. And so when it comes in primal light and primal sound, then it goes into what is called the Rishi self, which is the 15, 14, 13 dimension. And we live in a 15-dimensional universal time matrix. And then it comes into the 12, at least in eternal life systems, which Mother Earth used to be. So I'm talking about the eternal life perspective here. Through the 12, 11, 10, which is liquid light. Right? And these lines are how it comes in. The secrets of the universe, guys, right here. 12, 11, 10. And I know Tesla said 9. Well, that's the oversoul. 8, 7. And if you have the correct spins in between these dimensions, you can move. Your consciousness can move in between these dimensions. That's how Elijah on a chariot of fire left the Merkaba. That's what they're talking about, these lines. Right? And so 9, 6, 3, that's how we come in. So a lot of us came in through Andromeda M31 Galaxy, Universal Stargate 9, Sirius B. I know a lot of people in the Eternal Life Tribe, we don't really talk about it all the time, but like once you go deep with someone and they're able to, in a safe environment, discuss what their cellular memory is saying, yeah, Blue Flame Melchizedek, Sirius B. And then all the way down to D3 Earth, humanity. Right? And so it's descended mastery from the ascended mastery and we're all existing as that now. And then what was the third seeding of humanity, which some people say is the last, came in through the Ark of the Covenant time portal passage, which is what? From the 9 to the 6 to the 3. That's how the third seeding was through the Ark of the Covenant portal passage. And this is why when the Ark of the Covenant was located in Atlantis, they were thriving because they had access to its soul and oversoul. Dimension 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what can you do with that? Well, and when it was in Egypt, Egypt was thriving. Well, you can, when you have access to those high frequencies, you can charge little onks. And you can heal people with it, like on those walls. Walk like an Egyptian. Why do they all have these onks pointing at people? Right? And for a long time, the Ark of the Covenant was located under Stargate 4 in Egypt. And so all these things start connecting and making sense. Not just mental sense, right? And so that's how oversoul, soul descends, right? It splits through 12, 12, right? And so it's all math, right? So before coming into a body, your soul, which is a higher frequency, oversoul level, decides and it adjusts its frequency energy to match Mother Earth. And it moves down in frequency and densifies itself in stages, not all at once. So a mother, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, not emotion. A mother, let that land, by the way. A mother is not chosen by emotion. It happens through energetic alignment, frequency. Energy pattern must match. And the divine template, the body's blueprint, morphogenetic field, must fit that of the incoming soul. And there must be an agreement or a contract on the timing and the life plan of the incoming soul and oversoul. So all three of those, frequency, template, and contract and agreements, must match in order for that oversoul and soul to come into alignment and descend in frequency into the developing embryo, which begins to form a morphogenetic energetic field, which is a divine energy blueprint, right? So for example, a diabetic, when they cut off their leg, there's no physical leg, but they have phantom pain because the morphogenetic field, that blueprint for which matter to condense on, is still there. So when that energetic blueprint inside of the womb of the mother is a match, then the embryo begin densifying itself onto that morphogenetic field. This energetic field creates a resonant signal from the mother, and the soul is drawn into that field through resonance. Okay? And so when that egg and that sperm meet together at fertilization, we call it in science, it forms what is called in eternal life sciences known as the Vabhati cell, right? It's a combined parental energy template from the sperm and from the egg. And in that is the parental energy and information, beautiful things, right? But also 7 to 11 generations of trauma. And there's an agreement and a resonance which has drawn that incoming oversoul. And I know a lot of kids are going to be like, I didn't agree. Yes, on your mental level, you didn't agree. But on an oversoul level, you did. So this creates the first structure that can receive and translate the soul's frequency. And remember, guys, what is the soul's frequency? The soul is the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. A carbon silica less dense. Dimension 1, 2, 3, carbon-based life forms. Carbon silica, soul, less dense, right? It's some people can refer to silica as crystalline, right? So before full entry, the soul remains in proximity to the body. So the soul doesn't just like enter right away and it's, oh, I'm here. Hey guys, I'm here. No, it remains. It's like checking out the womb. It's in proximity to the body. And it begins what is called a partial connection or a Azuray tether. And I talk about this all the time, guys. The Azuray, behind the thymus gland, the direct connection point to source. So literally the incoming oversoul soul of the baby does a partial tether. It's checking it out, right? And it stabilizes what is a core identity structure, which is called the Rasha seed. Now, I know a lot of people use the word Rasha, but what does it mean? Rasha is pre-matter. It's eternal. The spirit body becomes the Rasha dark matter body, and then the Rasha body becomes the light body. I know that's a lot right there, but like that's the order of how it densifies itself, right? So this is before the light body even forms, guys. It's the Rasha seed. And the mother's role is central. There's a very intimate bond between the mother and the child, incoming soul, oversoul, because the mother provides the DNA template, the physical structure, and the energetic environment for development, which is the womb. It's a multi-dimensional energetic environment, which is sacred. Behind every great man lies a greater woman. We all come from a womb, man. So respect the womb, man. Because how we treat our womb, man, is how we treat Mother Earth. And you see the condition that we've left Mother Earth in. It's a reflection. And the mother also provides the energetic field, the DNA template, but also the location within Earth's grid. No accidents. So the incoming oversoul and soul entry does not always complete because there needs to be a frequency alignment, which can change. And that's not good or bad. The body may not develop enough capacity to hold the soul over the oversoul. And this is what these verses start making sense. You cannot pour new wine into old wineskin, Jesus said. What was he talking about? You can't put an oversoul and a soul into a body that can't hold it. The body will, or the wineskin will explode. A higher frequency will literally explode the body if it's not ready for it. It's a natural, gradual checking out Is it the right field? Is it the right time? Is it the right frequency alignment? Is it the right DNA for the set of agreements that I have? And what I'm saying is the frequency alignment can shift. The body might not be able to hold that capacity. And the contract agreement may shift too, because in order for there to be love, there has to be a choice. And it's not like love is not like a one-time choice, guys. It's not like, hey, I choose you. I'm locked in forever. Now I cannot do anything else. No, there's no force in source. For there to be love, there has to be a choice. And it's a continuous choice. Yes, I wake up every morning and I choose to love my wife. I choose again and again and again and again. And it's a continuous agreement. And that can shift. And that's okay. Because by definition, for there to be love, there has to be a choice. So the simple process is the avatar splits into 12, the oversoul soul splits into 12, right? And it adjusts its frequency as it approaches Earth. It aligns through frequency alignment with a compatible mother, womb, and field. The body begins to form. The Azuray is tethered, and the connection starts. And the body begins to develop the capacity to anchor in the full anchoring if the alignment continues to hold. So whoever or wherever you are, we entered a body where our soul, the body's design, and the timing all along aligned strongly enough to hold your presence. And it's amazing to me when you begin to think about everything that had to align and happen in order for us to be born on Earth. I guess that's the definition of what some might call a miracle. Literally, the stars had to align. And so the choice, or how spirit matches a body, it's not a feeling, emotion-based choice. It's like matching patterns of frequency compatibility. So the vibrational encryption and pattern, like a song or a signal, needs to match. And every single spirit identity has a unique frequency pattern. You are a unique frequency. I am a unique frequency. And that frequency unique to you had to match your mother. And every forming body has a developing pattern. If the pattern matches closely, connection becomes possible. So think of it kind of like a radio station, and you're tuning. And the frequency, the tune, the radio stations must match the frequency, and the signal needs to come in super clear. And then there's a contractual alignment, a pre-agreement for experience. So before birth, the identity on a higher level, the oversoul level, it sets an agreement about the lessons, the connections, the timing that it is agreeing to experience. These agreements determine which family line the identity will be born to, the spirit will be born to, which environment it will be born to, and which opportunities for growth. So it's kind of like you're planning a journey to Bali or a vacation somewhere. You agree to the vacation, and then you begin to plan why you're taking the vacation, what you want to experience there, who you want to experience it with, and then also when you enter into Bali, you agree to the rules of the land of Bali, which are very unique for those of you who've been to Bali. Or when you go to Malaysia or Singapore, yes, you agree. As you enter in and you show your passport, I will abide by the rules of this land, which includes like no, in certain places, like no chewing gum or no, whatever, right? And so the same, when you agree to come to Earth, you agree to abide by the rules of Earth. So there's no victim mode here. We agreed on an oversoul level. And I know a lot of us will say, no, I didn't, but it's because you haven't connected to your oversoul. You're thinking from your D3 mind, right? But what do those laws even agree? Like gravity, like choosing your parents, like where you were born. And I know I'm not even going to take this deeper and deeper, but you get what I'm saying. And life begins the moment that we accept, realize, and take extreme responsibility to the understanding and knowing that I chose. I'm not a victim. I take extreme responsibility. And I accept what is. And I take ownership over my choices and my hologram. And so the third requirement is template resonance, which means that the divine blueprint, and this is your divine blueprint, guys, the base 12 eternal life code, which is literally in you. It's the eternal life code, which is what we're awakening in the eternal life tribe, right? And so the blueprint of structure, the body's energy design, the body has a morphogenetic field. And if you want to look deeper into that, look at Rupert Sheldrake's work, Morphogenetic Fields. There's an energetic blueprint on which the body condenses, materializes. And so the oversoul soul has its own identity template, and these must match or fit together. And if they don't match, anchoring cannot happen. So a simply way to explain it is the frequency. Do we vibrate the same? The contract, is this the right life plan? And the template, can I fit into this body's design? And when all three of these things align, then the anchoring can proceed. Now, the stages of anchoring occur as one, fertilization, day 0. So what happens? A body begins to form. It is powered by the Vibhati cell, which is simply energy from the both parents. So the sperm and the egg begin to form the energy, to form the encryption for the soul to begin checking out, right? So the soul's not in the body yet, right? The spirit is not inside yet. The body is being built like a house under construction. Now, the first 12 hours is what Eternal Life Wisdom calls the Navajo cycle, right? A 12-hour energy cycle begins to run. And at the 12th hour, there is what we call a 0 point, which is a still moment where a new phase can begin, which is this prepares the body for first contact with the incoming spirit or soul or oversoul. So after 12 hours, first contact can begin, not entry, by the way, contact. So what happens? The incarnate oversoul or spirit or sends a temporary cord, energetic cord. And you guys may have heard about this, right? The silver cord, with a lot of spiritual traditions talk about there's a silver cord. Yes, it's real. And so it sends a temporary cord and it connects to the Azuray center, the direct connection point to source. A point in the upper chest near the thymus, right? Okay. And so it's checking it out. And this forms what is called a Rasha seed, pre-light, pre-sound, right? So it's the first tiny, if you want to call it, identity core, which then begins to form a hydroacoustic body. And this begins what is called the sound light energy body forming structure. Okay. And so the spirit is still not inside. It's not controlling the body. It's able to leave at any time. So it's kind of like plugging in a test cable. It's not moving in yet. It's testing. Okay. And approximately days 1 to 33, right? The fetus begins to grow physically and the energy system develops what is called a quantum tolerance point. And that's one of the goals of day 1 to 33 is to reach quantum tolerance point. And what that means is the body can finally handle the energy of the full incoming oversoul soul incarnate self, right? And so during this time, so it's the parent's light body, the sperm and the egg, which is forming this quantum tolerance point of energy, right? So during this time, the spirit may come close, check it out, it can pull back. Connection is still not permanent. It's like checking out the house, if the house is strong enough to live in. Yeah. So around day 33 to 56, full anchoring can occur. And this is that incarnation moment when the body is ready. The incarnate spirit has checked it out. The three things that we talked about are in alignment. So the incoming identity enters and begins to lock in and tether in, and the connection starts becoming tethered. Now the spirit body is fueling now the baby's incarnate soul and oversoul, and spirit begins to fuel the body, and it begins to run the formation of cellular processes. And this is around week 8, day 56. So this is when the brain starts to form, the identity connects into the pineal gland, the heart center begins, and it begins to create a pathway to bring higher energy into the body. And around month 3 to 4 is when the quickening happens, or the identity begins actively connecting awareness into the fetus. And the body, emotions, and mind layers begin to form and work. And the fetus begins drawing energy from the mother and from Mother Earth's field. There's a deep connection to Mother Earth, even in the early stages. And then at birth, when the baby comes out and takes its first breath, it pulls in Earth's energy at the exact place and time, and the identity fully locks into the body. So to summarize, day 0, fertilization, body begins, first 12 hours, energy cycle completes. At the 12th hour 0 point, contact is allowed. And then after, a temporary cord to the Azuray, checking it out. Day 1 to 33, the body grows stronger. Day 33 to 56, the incoming spirit, oversoul identity begins to anchor, and then the processes of incarnation begins. So what does this mean? So this means that you went through this process. Your Azuray center, direct connection point to source, is where you first connected. Your DNA is a record. It literally holds the record of how you anchored. Fetal embryonic integration. It's in your DNA. Your Rasha body is your original identity structure. And every single breath you take follows this same pattern. Inhale, breathing in God. You connect to God, sacred pause. You hold, you feel God. You exhale, and you release, and you reveal yourself to God. And you merge with the in-breath and out-breath of God with every breath. Right? And so it's this continuous process, and incarnation is not jumping into a body. It's like plugging your identity into structure, into form, until the body can hold your full presence. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. So for a body and an identity to connect, 3 things must match. Remember, the frequency, energy match, like a radio signal, the contract, the life plan agreement, and the template, a body that can hold the identity. So in very simple terms is when the new you begins to connect, it checks if it's a fit. And if one of those 3 matches isn't strong, it has a choice to let go and leave. So in frequencies terms, if it's a strong match, it stays. If it's a weak or changing match, then it releases. The signal, if you want to say, or the match, the frequency match didn't stay clear long enough to hold. And there's a timing, right? So if it's too early, then the connection didn't fully form. If it's later, after day 3356, the connection started, but it couldn't stay. So it's like a plug, right? If it's the right fit, it stays. If it doesn't fit, it falls out. Or if it fits, then the power stops, then it releases. So I know this is really simplifying it, but if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. Nothing is broken. Nothing is punishment. It just means the match changed, or the body couldn't hold it, or the agreement shifted. And so after, what happens to the contract? It does not break. but it can adjust or change paths. So there's new pathways. It can re-enter the same mother later. It can enter a different body. It can shift its timing. It can change the experience of the goals, life contract. Or it can say, hey, I only wanted to complete only a small part of the contract, what was planned. On an oversoul level, it's a continuous choice. So one simple line, the connection began, but the match couldn't stay strong enough, so it gently released and can continue in a new way. So let's talk about this new group of children, or the group of children that some refer to as Indigo children. So Indigo 1 children, some call them volunteers, some call them part of the 144,000. They begin incarnating in larger numbers around the late 1950s to 1970s. And then they come in waves. The Indigo 2 children came primarily, this is generalizations, by the way, 1970 to 1990s. And then the Indigo 3 children began usually after the 1990s into even the present generations now. And so these waves of children being born, they come in waves. And each has a different level of activation and purpose. So Indigo children are souls with a stronger, clear energy pattern designed to help change old systems on Earth. And if you really, really tune into it, a lot of Indigo children are born with their 4th, 5th, and 6th stranded DNA, their soul already online, which means that they can actually feel frequencies that most people on Earth cannot. Some can actually see things that most people on Earth cannot. They have access to a broader range of frequency, because 90-something% of humanity is stuck in D123. So when these children are born, some call them ultra sensitive or empath or whatever. And then they go to their mom and say, Mom, I saw this or I saw that. And their parents have been, not going to go too deep into it, but like they think that there's something wrong with their kids, when in all reality that their children are Indigo children here and they're really sensing things. Okay. And so Indigo 1 children are the system breakers. So their generalized role was to break outdated systems, right? So oftentimes they are strong-willed, resistant to control. They challenge authority, especially rigid structures. And oftentimes the system will label them as difficult. And they carry the first wave of higher frequency templates. And so they came to shake things up and expose what doesn't work. And remember, this was their life agreement. And in order for them to come, they had to have a DNA match, a sacred womb environment, and the body had to be able to hold the frequencies of their soul and oversoul. And then they come in through that frequency alignment with these life agreements, which is always available to shift. It's not stuck in stone. Now, Indigo 2, born primarily in the 1970s to 1990s, the system builders, right? So you shake up the system and then you start building new ways. And these children are more balanced than Indigo 1s. They're oftentimes creative, intuitive, innovative, and they have this innate desire to want to create better systems, not just break the old ones. Don't fight the system, create a new one. So they have this strong inner knowing and intuition and guidance and sensitivity. Can some of you relate? Yeah, I was born in 1981. They came to fix and redesign what Indigo 1 children broke open. By the way, man, I really want to just shout out Indigo 1 children. Oh, shout out to oh man, they came into a system that was like so, right? And they were like, can you imagine being born with your soul online back in the 70s and 80s and 90s? And you're like sensing all these things and the system is so stuck in its ways, and here you are. I call them the OGs, man, holding it down, like paving the way. And, I always say, like, I stand on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. Do you guys see how there's waves and preparation waves, and everybody's playing their role if they agree to, if they continue to agree to? So Indigo 3 children are the system. And so we couldn't have be where we're at without this wave of Indigo 1, Indigo 2, Indigo 3. So the Indigo 3s came in usually starting in the 1990s, and they're the system integrators. Their core role was to embody higher patterns, right? Highly sensitive, empathic, aware, naturally connected to energy and emotion. And these Indigo 3s are less focused on fighting systems, but more, they're just naturally, they just live differently. They're not here to fight anyone. They're just different. Literally created to stand out, not fit in. And they carry more activated templates from birth, and let that land. Like, they literally come in. Some of these kids are coming in with their oversoul online, which means, remember, every dimension with the oversoul is 789, which is literally like telepathy online, which is like bilocation online. And like real life examples of this is like when these little kids are so clear, man. They're so clear. And literally they're painting pictures of a simultaneous life in Egypt, literally, as a kid. They have memory, some of these kids. They know. They just know. Their templates are already active, right? And they came to live in a new way, not fight the old one. So don't fight the system, create a new one. What we fight, we become. And I say that with a renewed depth these days. What we fight, we become. Oof. Let that land. Don't fight the system. Create a new one. Acceptance is the first step of love. What we judge becomes the shadow. And I know this is not an easy one for a lot of us who've been through the system. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Create a new one with our frequency, with our words, with our thoughts, with our attitudes, with our actions. And so the key difference between the 3, Indigo 1 primarily came in to break the system. Indigo 2s, that wave came in to rebuild the system. And Indigo 3s came to become the new system. And their differences come from the differences in their DNA template, different levels of frequency accretion, different positions within the soul identity stream. And so it's not random. They're staged waves of identity entering Earth with specific roles and functions. So Indigo children are different waves of souls, each designed to first break, then rebuild, and finally live in a new way of being on Earth. They are progressive ways of identity entering Earth. And Indigo 1, 2, 3 are earlier waves, but let's shift our focus to this most recent children who are entering. Man, these kids that are coming in these days. Some call them crystal children, some call them rainbow children, call them whatever you want, but they're oversouls. A lot of these kids are online, which is just a reflection that the Indigo 1, 2, and 3 did what they were supposed to do. They prepared the way. They cleared the karma from the womb. They did the work. They transmuted. And so that these children are now able to come in, and these children coming in are clear. Because what we do not heal, our children will have to heal, right? And so all of the work that we've done has been clearing some karma, trauma, and things like that, so that this new wave of children who are super clear and aligned and sensitive are coming in. And they're born with greater DNA template activation potential. So they're coming in with their soul and oversoul already online. So they're at a further stage of the same evolutionary sequence. These newer children are more sensitive to energy and emotion, less able to tolerate stress, control, or artificial systems, and they're more naturally connected to their inner awareness and feeling. So it's an evolutionary progression. The Indigo 1 wave, Indigo 2 wave, Indigo 3 wave did what they were supposed to do. And a lot of them, the Indigos, came in with their soul online. And now these kids are coming in with their oversoul online, and they're more sensitive to frequencies, and they're more sensitive to the old system. They cannot tolerate the old system. And so we have a sacred duty and responsibility, if we so choose, to help create the environment and structure and infrastructure for these children to be able to feel safe and for them to be able to evolve, play, and fulfill their life agreements in a safe, protected, abundant environment. And so these kids feel different because their frequency starts higher at birth. Their systems are less filtered or blocked. And so they require more stable, coherent environments to function. And this is why so many of us are now having these downloads to help begin creating new earth educational systems and healing centers for these children to grow up on with fresh water and tribe and abundance and safe environments for them, for their nervous systems. So the progressive activation of DNA and identity levels across generations. You guys see how it's all interconnected, right? They're all coming in, right? From the oversoul, progressive waves of higher frequency. And you guys see how the children are so intimately connected to you and me? So compared to the indigo waves, they're less focused on fighting or fixing and more focused on coherence, sensitivity, and I love this word these days, direct embodiment. They often show deep empathy, very strong perception, and a low tolerance for misalignment. And I say that with a smile because my little one, man, like very low tolerance for misalignment. Like if I'm misaligned and I'm in the presence of my little 3-year-old, one glance at him and he knows and he just straightens me out right away. Right? These little kids are our teachers on a certain level. Yeah. They're coming in with their oversouls online and they're coming in and they're, I think our sacred joy. I mean, these kids are the new earth builders. These are the ones. And so what a joy it is to welcome them, to understand them, to feel them, to see them, and to cooperate and co-create, to create the optimal infrastructure for them to be able to thrive and fulfill their life agreements that they made. And so we're living in this special time. And, I would like to say that you are a miracle. I am a miracle. A drop in the ocean, but also the ocean. A direct, unique, oscillatory, vibratory reflection of Almighty Living Creator Source. Through a miraculous scientific process decided from spirit, ether, urge, elesic radiation on the unmanifest side of creation to densify itself, to experience itself in many different forms, and had the courage and the balls and the audacity to split itself into universes and galaxies, and out of all of those universes and galaxies to send a little bit of that huge ocean of consciousness into the Akasha Aya, and from the Akasha Aya to the Akasha, and from the Akasha to the Eka Veka, and from the Eka Veka all the way down to the primal light and sound, and said, I'm going to send this little ocean, this little dot of consciousness, which is everything, which is so little, but it's also everything. I'm going to send it down through the primal light and sound, and I'm going to send it in through the 1514 Rishi, as big as a sun you are, and then I'm going to send it to the 121110, and through the Ark of the Covenant portal, I heard the frequency call from Mother Earth that her children have forgotten, and I'm going to volunteer to send this wave of frequency. How courageously I'm just being me, and all the way down from the 963 all the way to humanity, and all the way down into the mother's womb. And on day one, there was a fertilization, and then the parent's life body began to give, and it checked it out. Is the frequency in alignment? Can I fulfill what I came here to do? What are my life agreements? Is there a body that can hold this mass, this incoming oversoul and soul? And then there's a level of trust on the higher end where it's like, yo, we're gonna let go for it. Day 33 to 55, boom, it anchors in, it checks it out and says, I'm coming in, boom, and it locks in and begins to grow a pineal pineal gland and the heart. What a miracle. And the heart starts to beat, right? And then literally little by little, it begins to formulate into a body, a frequency match and alignment. And this beautiful miracle begins to formulate. And over the course of month 1, 2, 3, and even if it decides to leave, there's nobody's fault. It's not, nobody needs to blame anyone. Nobody needs to throw rocks at anyone. Nobody needs to fight over this. It's a continuous free will choice. And then if it decides to come in, then boom, it's born. And what a miraculous choice and courageous choice to be born for such a time as this, an important inflection point in humanity's history. And Mother Earth, she giving birth, new Earth, and these children who are being born. Shout out to the Indigo 1 wave, shout out to the Indigo 2 wave, shout out to the Indigo 3 wave, and shout out to the new children being born, the crystal children, the new Earth children, and the rainbow children who are now being born. And shout out to those out there who are courageously holding their frequency amidst what can appear to be externally chaos. But with great chaos comes great opportunity. And love is all we need. And we are love. And nothing can separate us. How high, how deep, how wide, angels or demons or any system can separate us from the love. Because this is not some feel-good, emotional. No, it's a direct connection from my Azuray, directly through the 12, directly to the Eka Veka quantum, directly into the Akasha Aya, directly into the Unisai. Nothing can separate us from this love. So if you're at home with me and you're not driving, close your eyes and take a slow breath into this point right behind the thymus gland, the Azuray. And feel that direct connection to source. Exhale and see a white bubble of light formulating around you. Cozy white light nest chilling. Take one more breath into that Azuray, deep within there. The direct connection, 0 point to source, which tethered in your soul, your oversoul, which is still tethered. Breathe into it. And exhale through the silver cord, out through your tail, all the way down to the crust, the middle layer, all the way down to the core of Mother Earth. We are here, we are here, we are here. We chose to be here. So let's be here, grounded, centered, present. Unapologetically show up as ourselves, our unique frequency. Take one more breath in. And exhale. Let it all go, let it all go, let it all go, let it all go. I want you to bring a gentle awareness into your third eye. And if you choose to, it's your choice. Through your mind's eye, take a breath of gratitude in for your mom. And send a breath of gratitude to her sacred womb. We all come from this sacred womb, this portal. Behind every great man is a greater woman. A little breath of gratitude for that frequency match, for that sacred portal that held us and brought us through. I'm taking a moment just to appreciate that connection. And also realizing that true love is unattached. The greatest love is unattached. And one of the greatest cords that is the most difficult to cut here on earth is that cord, that tether to the mother. But there comes a certain point where you realize love is a continuous free will choice. And the key to your freedom lies beneath your mother's pillow. And when you take that dependence, that codependence, that attachment, that worry, and you unlock yourself in your Azuray and say, Mom, thank you. I release you. I trust you. We're good. That relationship shifts from codependency and attachment to freedom. So if you're ready to do that, breathe into your Azuray and see this clean light around you and clean light around your mom. You are both free to be. And this includes giving up your right to be seen, giving up your need to be seen by your mother. That's deep. And from there, I want you to just begin to see with me a new earth. See, visualize, and feel with me this co-creative process where these children are coming in and they're asking and requesting safe environments and infrastructure, a new system, a new earth. And begin to just see, visualize, and feel, if you would, with me, if this resonates with you, these healing centers popping up, these centers with fresh water, with new earth educational systems, with non-extractive systems, which are based on the sacred eternal law of one, where these children feel safe, where they feel their nervous systems can relax, and just kind of tune in. What's your role? If you choose, what's your role in helping to create this new earth infrastructure so that our children and our children's children and our children's children can come to earth in systems that are fair, but based on trust, respect, with a deep knowing that we are all one and interconnected. We are nature. We're not separate from nature, which are non-extractive, which is based on holarchy, not hierarchy. And the more of us begin to see, visualize, and feel this reality, the more it will manifest and materialize on earth as it is in the highest heavens. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, that the glory and character, the eternal life, science and wisdom, and goodness of Almighty Living Creator Source is covering the earth once again, as the water covers the seas. Taishan Tedoe, Taishan Tedoe, Taishan Tedoe. Spoken as it is stated, so it is done. May it be so. Yeah. And if you guys resonate with this podcast, I want to invite you to check out the Eternal Life Tribe. We're beginning to form small groups there. And it's not normal small groups. It's learning how to really, really, really love each other, transparently communicate with each other, to trigger each other and still show up for each other. And I know it's easier said than done. But we're beginning to form these groups. And the ultimate goal is once we form this tribal neurology together, to be able to co-create a new reality for our children and our children's children. And have fun doing it. All right, beautiful souls, thanks for joining this week. Love, light, peace, and truth to all sentient beings. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you next time. Peace.